Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to Fantasy Football Harsh Reality. It is an early morning edition right here in Los Angeles, California. It's like 8:30 in the morning. I'm rarely up this early, let alone going this early. But the fact of the matter is I have a call time later this afternoon to shoot yet another commercial. And then after that, I'm going to be getting on a late night plane and going to New York City for my birthday. I'm going to be going around. I got a bunch of shows lined up. If you want to know what shows, be sure and check my Twitter at The Greg Wilson or my Instagram, Greg Romero Wilson, or my Facebook page, Greg Romero Wilson as well. Because I'm going to be posting the list of all the shows that I have coming up. It's a great list. It's going to be very exciting. So what we're doing today, because I'm going to be in New York, because I'm not going to have time to do this again later this week, what I'm going to do is a quick recap of Week 10, and then I'm going to go right into Week 11, and we're going to start talking about the matchups we got going on this weekend. Now, listen, this is down to the wire. I've blown it. Now, in my, you know what the thing is? Okay. In my Comedians League, because I miss you too. Haley Boyle, listen, I'm coming to New York. I'm coming to New York tonight. I will be there this weekend. I'm sorry, I've been meaning to reach out to you and see if you're going to be in the city at all this weekend. I booked a bunch of shows. I'm going to be around. I'm going to be hanging out. Please, I want to see you. I'm so sorry. It just slipped my mind. I'm so glad you chimed in here right now. For those of you listening to the audio podcast on SoundCloud, you'll hear me talk to the people in my broadcast on Facebook Live, and so I address the people that chime in into the show. Haley Boyle, Lucy Pulliam, my Aunt Lucy. How are you, tia? How are you? ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien? So that's what's going on with me. I'm coming to New York. I'm just going to be a comedian for a weekend. It was supposed to be all week, but then I booked this thing shooting today. And so everything got backed up. So here we are. And I'm coming in, but really quickly, let's just go over to Week 10, because here's what, Jennifer Yarrow, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into my little fantasy football show that I do every single week. Okay, so here we go. God, Nick Chubb. There was a guy in my league of record who traded Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, traded away Christian McCaffrey and Sterling Shepard for Nick Chubb and like some other receiver, but a better receiver. He wanted the receiver end, so that was the trade they made there. And on Thursday night, when McCaffrey went off and got like 32 points, I was like, why would you ever trade McCaffrey? And then Nick Chubb came out and was just dominant in that game versus Atlanta. And it's the Nick Chubb you wanted to see. This team is starting to come alive, this Cleveland team. And you know what? I really hope they let Freddie Kitchens hold on to this team, because he seems to have them really going. I like this Browns team. I like him at the beginning of the season with the pieces they had. I hated the coaching. I wish Dallas would take a note from them. Of course, the main problem there is Jerry Jones. We get into it, but anyways. But fucking Chubb delivered. What about Ebron with another monster 3-touchdown game? And that's with Jack Doyle back in the lineup. I'll tell you what, that really surprised me. And remember what I was saying about Leonard Fournette. I thought Fournette would be on a pitch count of some kind, and apparently that is not the case. They're like, we got to try and save this season. They just were running him, and he looked great. Fournette, Jonathan Gregory, I'm sure you are excited to see Fournette out there running wild, but I think that's dangerous. I think he's going to get injured again. I don't think he finished, I'm worried about the usage. I really am. I wish they would mix it up a little bit more with Carlos Hyde and with the other guy, and just get him some more, not use him so much, but they obviously just don't give a fuck in Jacksonville. Doug Marrone's just like, I got to win games or I'm going to lose my fucking job. And the problem, I think, is still Bortles, but that's that. John Garnett, how are you, buddy? Good morning. And yes, there was no rout. The Rams did not come out, and they didn't end up routing the Seahawks, but they did. And listen, the whole thing with Seattle is really just a testament to what an incredible athlete Russell Wilson is. He's essentially, if Michael Vick had been a decent person. That is who he is. And it's crazy because he keeps that team alive. He has no pieces around him. The defense is not the defense it was, and yet he kept them in that game. I love Russell Wilson. I respect Russell Wilson. And that was another tough loss to the Rams for Seattle. That's two this year that they've lost by like 3-4 points. And to do that against this Rams defense that just added Fowler with Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald, which, by the way, can we talk about Mahomes' projection for this week against the Rams? They're playing in LA, which granted isn't that much of an advantage at this point in the game. But, so many more fans are going to show up for the Kansas City team, I assure you. But he's projected at like 47 points versus this defense. I find that to be very generous. I think he's going to be running for his life a lot this weekend. Not that he's not going to still score, and in fact, I actually have Kansas City winning this game in an upset, but I don't know that he's going to get 47 fucking fantasy points. I think that's a lot to expect on the road against a very, very talented Rams defense. It is not time. John Garnett asks, is it time for Pete Carroll to go? The answer is absolutely not. I mean, this happens with teams. You pay a lot, you put a great team together, and then you got to pay them. You know, you usually get them on a bargain, but then you got to pay them, and then you get picked apart, and then you got to rebuild. It's only rebuilding. The fact that they're doing as well as they are with the pieces they have, I still like Pete Carroll. I don't think he's the problem at all. They're just, they've had to give a lot of money to their big stars, and that's, this is the consequence. What about New England losing to Tennessee in Tennessee? Now, this is the lowest powered offense in the league next to Washington, and yet these guys, it just, and I was saying, there's no way Belichick is going to lose to another one of his former coaches. Like he did it against Detroit, and they ended up sucking a fat burger for the rest of the fucking season. And now he went down there, and apparently, if you have the inside intel on this New England team, you can beat them. And so that's exactly what happened. What's funny is, I feel like you have to have that kind of inside intel, because everyone has the tape. Everyone can look at the tape and see what they did, and yet nobody seems to be able to replicate it. It seems to only be the guys that really know the inside information that are able to beat this New England team. So what that means to me is that if you're one of these teams like Kansas City or Pittsburgh, you need to go pick up one of their coaches or one of their former coaches and bring him over to your fucking team going into these playoffs, because you need whatever intel that those guys seem to have that nobody else does. Tennessee, not a fluke. Again, it's because their coach not only played for Belichick for many years, but was also an assistant under him. So I'm telling you, it's these guys that have that deep inside knowledge that know exactly, you have to know exactly how to hit them, to beat them, and they manage to do it. How about, oh my God, fuck you, Jets. Let's start with a big fuck you to the New York Jets. You made Matt Barkley, a guy who's been sitting on his couch for the last, however many, 2 seasons? They brought out Matt Barkley. I don't know, maybe he's been on the bench somewhere. Who knows what's been happening to him? For all I know, he's been at a bar getting drunk. Yes, fuck the Jets. Oh my God, they made Matt Barkley. And of course, okay, here's what happened to me. I lost a game I should have won. Again, because I care too much, and I overthink, and I make last-minute changes. And that's the thing, and that's what you have to watch out for. I always tinker with it. I always tinker with it at the last minute, and when let me just skip this. Sorry, I'm trying to bring up my notes for this coming week. I always end up looking at my stuff on Sunday morning, overthinking it, and making a change. I know, Matt Barkley. And then, okay, so I had 3 running backs to choose from for my RB2 going into this week. 2 of them would score over 25 points. 1 of them would score 9 points. All I had to do, so I had a 2 out of 3 chance of getting 25 points. My choices were Adrian Peterson versus the Bucs, Ingram versus Cincinnati, and LaShawn McCoy with a third string off the street fucking quarterback. And guess what? LaShawn McCoy did 26 points, Ingram did 25 points, and Adrian Peterson did 9 points, and I fucking played Adrian Peterson after I had Ingram in all week. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's the fucking Bucs. He's got a great matchup. It's got to be fucking, he's at least going to handle the ball. Ingram has been so marginalized heretofore. I did not expect Ingram to be able to see the ball that much. And although I was talking about game script, he should, in the second half, see more chances because I knew it was going to be a blowout. And instead, it was a huge blowout, but it was Ingram in the entire first half. He went, oh my God. See, and that, my friends, is the harsh reality part of fantasy football. I mean, a 2 out of 3 chances, and if I get those 25 points, I win a game I desperately needed to win. I've dropped now from 6th place, which was still in the playoffs, to 7th place. I am right now on the outside of the playoffs looking in. But I got 3 weeks to get it right, and my team. And here's the change that I'm making, and this is the thing that I really haven't paid enough attention to this year, and that's defenses. Because I go a little high around 7th, 8th round, and I get an elite defense. And I have the Rams in one and Jacksonville in the other league. Jacksonville has not been performing, but the Rams generally have. But what I've noticed is down the stretch, what I'm losing to are teams that go out and they get the sweet matchup, the shitty defense against, a decent defense versus a super shitty team that's going to give up a bunch of points. And then the defense puts up 24 points and they beat me because of that defense. And I'm getting 6 to 8 points out of my defense. So I really am having to change my tack. And I went and pick up the Ravens in both my leagues. I think they're going to have a big day versus Cincinnati this week because Cincinnati is doing what Cincinnati does. Cincinnati looks great for 4 games. And then just start, that's their favorite thing to do. That's all they do. They're fucking terrible. Marty Ross, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Thank you for joining the podcast. All right, so this is what's going on. There's so much to look at. So Ebron had that big game. Tennessee put up that big defense. Corey Coleman, again, he had a big game, but again, it's the second, he's the second best, or it was his second good game of the season. Other than that, he's put up a stinker. And again, it seemed like it was just that one magical game for Tennessee because they were beating New England, and so everybody played par. And what about John Ross suddenly taking off and and now Tyler Boyd? And we were talking about this. Tyler Boyd was going to get the number 1 coverage. So who ended up open? John Ross, because he was getting the number 2 coverage. I thought Tyler Boyd was really going to step up. He's so big, he's so athletic, and yet it just fucking did not happen. The Chicago defense absolutely feasted as predicted. We have to be honest, Jacksonville defense, not so good this year. They're really not. They're not getting pressure. They're really not, for all that talent, they're really not getting it done. And, and finally another fuck you to Derrick Henry. Fuck you. I mean, LaShawn McCoy, I keep him because I'm always afraid that he is going to go off because he has that kind of potential. But when it comes to Derrick Henry, just fuck yourself, man. You fucking dick. God damn it, comes out and gets 2 touchdowns. Finally, the performance. But listen, you couldn't have kept him in this whole time waiting for this day, just like you couldn't with LaShawn McCoy. So I didn't go with LaShawn McCoy, didn't go with Ingram, went with Adrian Peterson. And you know what? This week, I dropped Adrian Peterson. I fucking dropped him for the Ravens defense because fuck you, you old man. People are like, oh, he's found the fountain of youth. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. He fucking sucks. He looks old when he's out there like he's running through fucking maple syrup. All right. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump to week 11. Oh, hello and goodbye to Fluellen. By the way, Fluellen for the Titans was looking pretty good. He looked good in preseason, and then he got injured immediately. Hello, goodbye, Fluellen. All right, let's get into it. Thursday night, Green Bay at Seattle. I mean, this is one of those ones. I mean, Seattle is smarting from another close loss to Los Angeles, and Green Bay, they beat up on Miami exactly as they were predicted to do. So Green Bay's coming in a little bit hot in this match. I love Russell Wilson. I think he's going to have a hell of a day. I love Aaron Rodgers, because he's going to have to sling it, I think, in the second half. I like Aaron Jones. I like Devontae Parker. Wrong Parker. I don't know what that's doing in there. Devontae Adams. I like Devontae Adams. I like Baldwin and I like Lockett. I don't like Valdez-Scantling because this is a still good Seattle defense. I don't like Jimmy Graham because he's been busted up and he hasn't been doing much. And again, it's a good Seattle defense. I don't like the Seattle running backs because, again, we don't know. They've been putting in Penny. They've been putting in Mike Davis. They've been putting in, who knows, and then God forbid that fucking Chris Carson decides he's going to show up to the party again. So he gets to show up whenever he fucking wants. And to be honest, I don't like the Seattle defense because as strong as I think they're going to play this game, Aaron Rodgers is going to put up some points on them towards the end, and I think that's ultimately going to diminish their value in this game. So, but ultimately, I think Seattle wins this game 24-23. Let's keep going. So play Aaron Russell and Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, Baldwin, and because Baldwin seems to have come back into the scene. But all of a sudden, Doug Baldwin is back and catching passes and looking pretty good. So, I like Doug Baldwin. Michelle Brandifast, how are you? Haven't seen you in forever. Thank you for tuning in. Michael and Miko, welcome to my podcast. This is Fantasy Football Hush Reality. If you have any questions, matchup dilemmas, anything you're worried about going into Week 11, now's the time to get it in because, unfortunately, I will not have time. I'll be in New York. I won't have time to do this later this week. So this is the Week 10 recap and the Week 11 preview. So let's get them out there. What are your dilemmas? For me, you know what? I'm setting my lineup and I'm just sticking with it. No more tinkering. I've fucked myself so many times. I'm done. Once I make a decision, it's in and I'm riding it out. Dallas at Atlanta. Now, listen, let's talk, Dallas. I'm the biggest Dallas Cowboys fan. When you're a Cowboys fan, okay, Bill Seifert is tuning in right now. He says, Anthony Miller or Austin Ekeler. Wow. You know what? Unfortunately, I'm Austin Ekeler. Okay, he's one of these guys that really just hasn't been getting enough opportunities. And let me see, who are the Chargers up against? Let's look at this. Down here, Denver versus the Chargers, and Denver is pretty good against the rush. They're stronger against the rush than they are against the pass. The no-fly zone doesn't exist anymore, so, I mean, it's a toss-up. It's a coin toss. But probably, I guess, I'm to be honest, Anthony Miller, I would have to look that up and see who we're talking about because I'm really not sure. But Austin Ekeler, I'm worried isn't going to really be seeing that many chances. So I will have to look up Anthony Miller, and we'll bring that up, and I'll see if I can get you a better read on that. Who's he stepping in for? Because he's obviously got to be coming in for somebody. Whoops. So let me look at that here really quickly. Let me go to my players. So, anyways, we're back to the Dallas-Atlanta game. Obviously, watching Dallas-Philadelphia last week. Watching Dallas-Philadelphia, I mean, I was just like, I didn't want to text. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to say anything because it was too good. It was too good to be real. And yet it came true. It came true. Oh, Anthony Miller, the Bears wide receiver. Okay, that's right. Oh, that's right. Okay. And the Bears, who are the Bears? Let me look at the Bears. They have, who are the Bears up against this week? Because I did the analysis on them. Tennessee, Tampa Bay, the Giants, Houston, Washington, Pittsburgh Jets, Cincinnati, the Baltimore, Oakland, Arizona, Chargers, Philadelphia, New Orleans. Oh, Minnesota and Chicago. I would go with Anthony Miller because he's definitely going to have more opportunities. The Minnesota defense, not what they were last year, and they're going to be playing outside in Chicago, which is definitely going to help. And Trubisky's been on fire. Definitely go with Anthony Miller, although to be honest, let's be honest, it was Allen Robinson Day last week, and that may continue. And of course, they have Taylor Gabriel. But in terms of pure opportunity, I mean, although if you can get Taylor Gabriel, I would think him more than Anthony Miller. But in this matchup, because Ekeler, I don't know how much he's going to see the field. He really hasn't seen the field that much. And Denver is very good against the run. I, in this case, would go with Anthony Miller. But that's just me. It's a coin toss. It's up to you. I love it when I say something and I'm wrong. Listen, I'm wrong about my own stuff. If I were right about everything, I would be number one in all my leagues across the board. I mean, we all know a lot of it is decided on, obviously, on draft day. And in my Comedians League, no one will trade with me. Like, the guys that have the running backs are hoarding the running backs. They refuse to trade the running backs. And I'm like trying to trade. I even offered Tyreek Hill. No one would fucking take Tyreek Hill. It was fucking crazy. Oh, Jeff Husbands, how are you? Welcome to the podcast. All right, so let's continue. So anyway, Dallas wins the incredible win against Philadelphia. Oh my God, I was shooting loads all over the place. It was like a personal birthday present to me that they won that game. Nothing, because fuck the Eagles, and they beat them in fucking Philly. Fuck you, Eagles. Fuck you in the ass. Fucking fuck you in the ass. It's over for you, motherfucker. I mean, that was just beautiful. And of course, now nobody fears them. Nobody's worried about them. But this week, Dallas is traveling to Atlanta. Now, on the upside, the Dallas defense is playing very, very well. But ultimately, Atlanta at home, their defense plays better at home. Our offense is getting better. It is improving, but the Atlanta offense is just a lot better. So, they're much more. So, in this, I do love Zeke and I love Amari Cooper. I like all of the Atlanta offense. I'm not really in love with them because the Dallas defense is very, very good, but I do like all of them. I think you play, Tevin Coleman, Julio Jones, Matt Ryan. I think you're saying Hooper, play all of the Atlanta offense. Be sure and get them on the field. The only people I don't really like are either defense, because I think the Dallas defense is going to get scored on quite a bit, and I think the Atlanta defense is going to get scored on, and I don't think they're going to make enough big plays to really mean anything. Brian Bentley, how are you, my man? Listen, I'm talking about Week 11, so if you have any matchup questions going into this week, please put them in there. Let's talk about them. Let's hash them out. Carolina, I think Atlanta beats the Cowboys 31-21, and I have no problem picking against the Cowboys, because apparently when I pick against the Cowboys, that's the only time they win. So I'm picking against the Cowboys again. Good day to you, sir. Good day, Brian Bentley. So I really like. So I'm picking Atlanta to win, to beat the Cowboys, because when I pick against the Cowboys, that's when they win. So I'm going to keep picking against my beautiful, delicious Cowboys. Excuse me. Carolina at Detroit. Curious about Anthony Miller moving forward as an A.J. Green replacement. Boy, everyone's on the Anthony Miller bandwagon. Maybe I haven't looked at it close enough. I mean, again, from what I saw, Allen Robinson having most of the day there. Maybe he got injured and I didn't see it. Again, I watch all the games at the same time, so I don't always have some time to look at everybody. So let's take a look and just see what's going on with this Anthony Miller person. I mean, can you replace A.J. Green? I mean, and this is something you have to be prepared for when you own A.J. Green, because A.J. Green gets knocked out for several games a season every year. So, that being what it is, let's see if that comes up. Okay. So let's move on. We'll take a look at it. But I don't know. A.J. Green is a wide receiver one. Anthony Miller is absolutely not a wide receiver one. But Trubisky has been on fire. So, in Minnesota, they're going to be outdoors. They're going to be real fucking cold. So, I mean, I like Chicago in that matchup for sure. But, I mean, is he a wide receiver one? You have Larry Fitzgerald, who should excel in the slot versus Oakland. Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, now that they have Leftwich calling the plays, he's getting the ball to Fitzgerald and he's getting the ball to DJ in space, David Johnson. And so yes, I think now you could start. Again, this is why you hold on to name guys, because Anthony Miller, let's look up Mr. Anthony Miller. Let's get to know him a little bit. Let's see what they say. Anthony Miller, he scored 3 times his last 5 games while seeing 6 or more targets in 4 straight against the Bears. Okay, so he's putting up some points. Alrighty. So he did 25 points against Detroit last week. So everybody's going off because he did 122 yards, 8 targets, 5 receptions, 120. And he had a 45-yard touchdown strike from Trubisky. Okay, so listen, for me, Anthony Miller is clearly going to be a dart throw kind of a guy. He had a great game last week, and unfortunately, in my opinion, you're going to see him float back down to earth, because look at his points. 2 points, 8 points, 6 points, no points, 10 points, 5 points, 12 points, 8 points, 25 points. This game is an aberration. It's just one of those things where he had a big game. Do not expect him to have this same production every single week. Essentially, if you play him as your wide receiver, he's at best a flex, and at that, to me, he's also a gamble, because, again, if you think he's Mr. Consistent now, that's only going to be true if both Taylor Gabriel and Allen Robinson get knocked out of the game, which Allen Robinson has had trouble, but he's been... Now, John Ross, okay. I think John Ross is playable right now while A.J. Green is out, because, again, wide receiver one coverage has shifted over to Tyler Boyd, and clearly John Ross has become the guy with the weaker matchup who's been able to close the deal and get the points. So, for right now, to be honest, I would go with John Ross over Anthony Miller this week. I may eat those words, but you never know. But I don't think so. Again, you're chasing the points if you go with Anthony Miller this week. 26 points. The trend isn't there. The trend is not there. Okay? He was the guy that was open supremely last week. And if you didn't play him last week, I'm afraid the ship may have sailed on that. I mean, play him at your own risk. For me, Anthony Miller is a huge peril. Obviously, he went from 33% owned or from 12% owned to 33% owned. But again, it's a dart throw with that guy. I do not trust Anthony Miller. Okay. Let's look at Carolina at Detroit. How pissed is Carolina, particularly that defense, about getting rocked on national television by Pittsburgh like that last week, right? Like, they got to be going nuts. And they've had not only extra time to be mad about it, but to also get rested and get their heads right. So, and Detroit obviously is doing what Detroit does, just like Cincinnati. Okay, so I think for this one, Carolina, you know who I love in this game? The Carolina defense. I expect Carolina defense to come out and get right against this team and fucking just tear it. I love the Carolina defense. And actually, I love the offense too, because the Detroit defense hasn't been doing dick. So I expect, play everybody on Carolina, okay? I do, however, for Detroit, the only person I like is Kerryon Johnson. The guy plays with passion. He plays with fire, determination. I like Kerryon Johnson. I hate everybody else on Detroit. Stafford, whatever the two receivers that they have left, who have now become, basically jokes since they lost Golden Tate. So I think Carolina rolls these motherfuckers 31-12. Tennessee and Indiana. Now, this is one of those strength-on-strength games because Indiana's strength is their offense, Indianapolis' strength is their offense, and Tennessee's strength is their defense. So you have strength on this one. The Tennessee offense, I think, floats right back down to earth. Please, by all means, start Derrick Henry if you think he's going to have another 2-touchdown day, but I don't think that's the case. I think last week was their, give me one moment in time. That's what that was last week. One moment in time. And listen, Garrett Gonzalez, I miss Jimmy Garoppolo too. He was my QB2 in my league of record. Not having him really hurt me on Drew Brees' bye week. And right now, I'm riding Drew Brees. If he gets injured, my season is dunzo. And listen, and for the Niners, they'll never know what this season was. But hey, what did I tell you about Nick Mullins? I said Nick Mullins wasn't the truth. Everyone was all, Nick, because against the Raiders, I was like, get the fuck out of here. There's a reason he was on the practice squad, and he played like a fucking practice squad quarterback last week. Okay, 250 yards, 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. That's what you should be getting, and even that should be considered a good day. Doyle or Ebron for the start? For me, okay, talking about Indy versus Tennessee. For me, obviously, Ebron is the choice. Ebron is clearly the one that gets more open. He's 3 fucking touchdowns last week. I thought, but I would still play Jack Doyle because he's not afraid to throw to Jack Doyle, and I don't think it's always going to be Ebron day the way it was last week. I think, some weeks it's going to be Ebron, some weeks it's going to be Doyle, definitely skewing more towards Ebron. I'd say it's going to be more like 60% Ebron, 40% Doyle, but I still like Jack Doyle because I like Andrew Luck to keep slinging that ball. But yeah, please, by all means, play Derrick Henry if you think he's going to have another 2-touchdown day, because he's not. Indy is hot, especially at home. And the Indianapolis defense is not as bad as people think. And again, remember, this Tennessee offense has been struggling all season. I don't know. Maybe they did get it together. Maybe that was a harbinger of things to come. I hope so. Let's see. In this, I don't love anybody because Tennessee has a good defense, but I do like Luck. I like Dion Lewis. I like T.Y. Hilton. I'd like Corey Davis to continue to have a decent day, not to have necessarily, but if you need a wide receiver 2 or flex, I think Corey Davis is in there because Indianapolis' defense is decent, but not incredible. But I don't like Henry, and I don't like either defense because, again, I think Andrew Luck's eventually going to put up points on Tennessee, and I think that the Indianapolis defense is just not going to be able to create enough points in sacks or turnovers, although they may hold them down. And I don't really like Marlon Mack because he's going to be running into the strength of that Tennessee defense right up the middle, so I'm not really feeling it with Marlon Mack, but obviously if you have him, you're going to fucking play him. And Jonathan Gregory is making fun of me. Where's my love for Derrick Henry? I've lost. I now have. It's one of those things when someone betrays you that your love turns to hate, because it wasn't one betrayal. It was like 10 betrayals. Like, it was such a deep, multiple, like just the worst fuck you, Derrick Henry. And now, although to be honest, when love is that deep, it's hard for me to give him up. I was like, please be this who you are for the rest of the season. I love you, Derrick Henry. And in fact, you know what? I may pick him up in one of my leagues because all I have is Gio Bernard in the other league. So who knows? I may put a flyer on him. You know, it's tough to say how this stuff is going to work out. But I don't like him in this matchup. I really don't. Ultimately, I think Indy rolls with them and wins it 23-16. I think it's kind of a low-scoring game, and I think ultimately, though, Indy wins it 23-16. And I think that Luck still has 3 touchdown passes on the day, and probably an interception. But yes, my love for Derrick Henry. Let's see if he's back out there. I may pick him up. Let's add Derrick Henry because I need another running back this week. So because Crowell, and thank God Crowell finally scored a touchdown. So you know he was somebody that, and I put in Duke Johnson. He scored a touchdown. Thank God. But again, I played him over my 2 25-point winners that were on the bench, fucking me in the butt. I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. There's no way to win. Let's see if we can find this. Okay, let's move on. Tampa Bay at the Giants. Oh my word. Listen, if you're involved in this matchup, you're in trouble. Both these teams are a total mess. Giants got their second cream puff matchup. Of course, the Riley Dynasty already picked him up. Thanks for nothing, guys. Okay, so I lost out on that one. The Giants get their second cream puff matchup after last week versus the Niners, who proved that Mullins is a practice squad quarterback. Tampa Bay is a mess. But it's so funny, even with them being a mess, Fitzpatrick's stats are still pretty good, but he can't seem to get the ball to Mike Evans anymore. What the fuck happened to that connection? He can't get the ball to him. It's fucking unbelievable. So in this one, I love both the offenses, even Eli. I think Eli is going to be able to throw the ball on this team. He's had a couple of 300-plus yard games this year. It's not like he hasn't. But that's only because both defenses suck so hard. So I love both offenses. Play both. I think they're going to run points on each other. And I think ultimately, it's going to be a record day for Saquon Barkley. I look forward to that one. But I think Tampa Bay squeezes it out 34-31. I think they get him by a field goal. I really do. I think that's how that one works out. Houston at Washington. This is one of those ones that I really don't think needs that much analysis. I mean, Washington is going to take a pretty serious L this week, in my appointment. They just don't have the firepower to beat this Houston team. They're winning it with defense, but the Houston defense, they're coming off a bye. They're rested. It's a great defense. They're going to beat up on Alex Smith all afternoon. They're going to try and get the ball to Adrian Peterson. He's going to get stuffed over and over again. And eventually that Washington defense gets tired. So I think I love everyone except the tight end in Houston. I think you play everybody. I think they're all going to feast. Be sure and play those guys over there in Houston, especially Demaryius Thomas. I think he gets a touchdown. I think everybody comes out hot, and I hate everybody in Washington. I don't think they get anything this week. I think Houston rolls them 41-17. You traded Kelly. You just love making trades. Jonathan Gregory, I love you so much. You're one of those guys that you love action. You just got to be moving pieces around left and right, back and forth. You don't give a fuck. And good for you, brother. Good for you. So you traded Kelsey and Amari Cooper for Gronk and Mike Evans. Did I win the trade? No, you absolutely lost the trade. You lost that one really bad. Both Gronk's, first of all, injured like a motherfucker. And I told you not to trade for Gronk. I told you. They were trading you 2 names that were on the way, that were underperforming, and you went with it anyway. You insisted on going with. You just love fucking trades. You're just running, you're just throwing guys back and forth. But that is a terrible Mike Smith is asking me, he sent me a message. He said, do I still play weekly fantasy football or just daily? I play weekly. I am in 2 leagues that mean more to winning those leagues. It means everything in the world to me. Daily fantasy, that's where I go and take my analysis, and I play daily fantasy. And I've made some money this season. I think I put in like $30 at the beginning, and I think I have like $46 now. So, I mean, I've won some, I've lost some, I've gone back and forth. I do love daily fantasy, but it ain't my favorite. Okay, I mean, I love the leagues. I love the smack talk. That's right, the back and forth and just trying to get going. Okay. Pittsburgh at Jacksonville. Boy, talk about two teams headed in opposite directions. But, Fournette brought a lot of life back to that team last week, and they did look better, and they put up more of a fight. In this one, ultimately, Pittsburgh's just a team that is just hotter. They are white fire right now, baby. They are en fuego, as my people say. En fuego. I love the Pittsburgh defense in this one to really just beat up on although they are in Jacksonville, which is going to help. And again, having Fournette, but I do love the Pittsburgh defense to get a few interceptions and a bunch of sacks on Bortles, probably knock him out of the game. They're probably going to wind up bringing in whatever Castle or whoever they have back at Castell or whatever. So I love the Pittsburgh defense. I love Big Ben. I love Juju, and I love Fournette in this one because Fournette, he's unstoppable. He's going to break one or two free. I like Antonio Brown, and I like the Pittsburgh tight ends. You got to play them both. Obviously, I think it skews more towards McDonald. Is like the Ebron Doyle thing. We have McDonald and Jesse James, but I think it really skews towards Vance McDonald. I don't like the Jacksonville defense. I think they're going to get scored on more than, more than my friend's slutty sister. They're gonna get scored on quite a bit. I was gonna say which friend, and then I had to stop myself because I don't want to do that. Yes, Jonathan Mesh, the messy juice is winning. You got a hot team. They're coming together at the right time, and now you have Fournette back. And listen, enjoy him while you can because he is not gonna be in there for much longer. Is it this game? Is it the next game? He doesn't finish the season. Lock it up. I hate Bortles, and I hate the Jacksonville wide receivers, even Moncrief, even though it's been pretty decent. And obviously, I think in the end, Pittsburgh rolls on this team 31-21. Cincinnati at Baltimore. Baltimore's rested. Cincinnati's on the ropes. I don't know. And like I said, this is what Cincy does. They start out with 4 great games, and listen, when are they going to move on from Dalton? When are they going to be like, you know what, Dalton? You're a fucking loser. You're a fucking loser. Get the fuck off the field. And yet they stick with this motherfucker. Yeah, and he does the same thing. 4 games of, oh my God, we're unstoppable. And fucking death. I love the Baltimore defense in this one. I picked them up and I'm playing them in both my leagues because fuck that. Baltimore defense is going to own these motherfuckers today. They're in Baltimore, for Christ's sake. And Cincinnati is eating a dick, even though, yes, it is a rivalry game, and Cincinnati does play a lot harder against Pittsburgh than anybody else. But I think the trajectory of these two teams, I don't think it's going to be like it was earlier this season. I think this one's going to be pretty dominantly the Ravens. So I love the Baltimore defense. I like whichever quarterback starts for the Ravens. I like Crabtree, John Brown. I still like Joe Mixon because he gets tons of touches. He catches the ball. He will get you points. I don't like Boyd because he's been struggling with that coverage and against this Ravens defense. I don't like the Cincinnati defense. I don't like Alex Collins. I think that's the one thing they may be able to stop. And as I said, yes, I still like Joe Mixon in this one to still have a very good game because he gets PPR points. And, but if they try and run him up the middle, and it won't be a good day like it's been all the other games, I think Mixon definitely takes a step down in this one. And I hate Andy Dalton. I hate him. I hate him. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Get out, Andy Dalton. Baltimore wins 26-9. 3 field goals. That's what I think they're ultimately going to get. Oklahoma at Arizona. Brought to you by Waste Management. Do you have 2 garbage teams facing each other? Well, call Waste Management. We specialize in garbage. Arizona, although let's be honest, Arizona is kind of starting to find their way. You began to see it, getting the ball to Fitzgerald, getting DJ in space. It's starting to happen. And of course, Oakland, you have to give Oakland credit for being so creative when it comes to losing. They are absolutely the most creative losers I've ever seen. They're like, oh, that worked. Not doing that again. Yes, play that Arizona defense. They were my number 2 choice behind the Ravens. And the reason I didn't go with the Arizona defense because they are a streaming option. Great, cheap, daily fantasy play, although the price has probably gone up because it's against Oakland. But ultimately, the Ravens, I think, is a defense I'm going to be able to continue to play throughout the remainder of the season. They got a very good end of the season run matchup-wise. And so I went for the Ravens, and I'm going to hold on to the Ravens and alternate them with the Rams and Jacksonville. Those are the two teams that I'll be rotating with depending on matchups. Because Jacksonville still has put up fairly decent points. They just aren't as dominant as they were last year. But ultimately, in this game, I love the Arizona defense, and I love DJ. I love David Johnson. I like Fitzgerald. He seems to be getting involved, and I pretty much hate everybody else. They all suck. It's the toilet bowl. Arizona wins it 19-10. Denver at the Chargers. Denver's coming off a bye, but so fucking what? They still have Case Keenum as their quarterback. The Chargers are fucking hot. The Chargers are rolling. The Chargers are absolutely rolling, and they're playing here in Los Angeles. That'll be a lot of fun for those of us in LA because the LA Rams game got moved back to LA, so plenty of traffic on Sunday. We've really got so much sporting going on. Apparently, it's all we have is money to spend on sports. Granted, our whole city is burning to the ground, which, I have weird conspiracy theory feelings about that, but moving on. The Denver D could slow down Rivers, though. Let's be honest. The Denver D is still very good. The pass rush is still very, very good. So in that, because the Denver defense is good, and because the Chargers are playing incredibly well, there's nobody I really love in this game. I do, however, still like Rivers. I like both the defenses to have actually pretty good days. I still like Gordon because he's fucking Gordon. If they press that pass rush, he'll find a way to slip underneath them and he'll get loose. I like Philip Lindsay. I think he'll be able to get through that Chargers line and do some things. I like Emmanuel Sanders, surprisingly. And I like Allen. We'll see. Now, I don't like the Williams brothers on the Chargers, though. Tyrell and Mike Williams. Because you don't know who's going to get it in that one, and the Denver defense is still pretty decent. They're going to pressure that ball, make it hard to get it out. So I think maybe Keenan Allen might struggle, but I just still kind of like him. I like him better than the Williams brothers in this one, and I really don't like Case Keenum. But ultimately, I think the Chargers win that one 24-18. You would think it'd be higher scoring, but I don't think it will. I think the Denver defense will slow down the Chargers, and the Chargers will be able to contain Denver enough. Philly at New Orleans. Oh, Philly's going to take a hot load on the chin again this week. They're still tasting all that cowboy leather in the mouth. All that deep cowboy horse fucking they took last week. It was so delicious. Fuck you, Philly. Fuck you. But this week they have to go and face New Orleans, the most high-powered offense in the league right now. New Orleans and Pittsburgh, they're the two that seem to be really lighting it up. So Philly defense not that great. The New Orleans defense is improving, and they're better at home, and they are in New Orleans. So I love the New Orleans offense. Play everybody in the New Orleans offense. Massive points. That's going to be a points bonanza. I'm sorry, the Philly defense just isn't who they were last year. I like Carson Wentz. I think he's going to have to sling the ball to get things done. So consequently, I also like Ertz. I also like Jeffrey. Obviously, there's zero chemistry with him and Golden Tate right now. They just can't seem to connect. So that being the case, all right. So I don't like that, and I hate the Philly defense because I think the Philly defense is absolutely going to get rocked by this New Orleans offense. So play everybody in New Orleans offense. They're going to have a really great day against this Philadelphia team. And again, Wentz, he's going to have to sling it to stick in there. Ultimately, I think New Orleans rolls 43-24. Minnesota at Chi-Town. This is one we were talking about a little bit earlier with this Anthony Miller thing that I was completely checked out on. I can't follow everything, guys. I tried to. I watch all the games, but I watch them all at the same time. What can I say? I have multiple other careers that I have to manage during the week. But that being the case, Minnesota outdoors, this is where Chicago shines. This is where they pick it up. I like Diggs, and although with Minnesota, they do have both Diggs and Dalvin are back. They're coming off a bye week But again, the cold is going to be a little tough for them. But this is going to be a closer game than people think. Chicago is not going to rout Minnesota. Minnesota's going to score because Chicago has been scoring, but Minnesota's going to be scoring quite a bit too. Although Dalvin Cook, don't be surprised if he gets hurt in this game outdoors against a very tough Chicago defense. Consequently, I love both the offenses in this one. I don't like the Chicago defense because, again, with the weapons that they've got coming into this game with Dalvin Cook being back, I think Minnesota's going to score points on Chicago. I don't think that they're going to be able to hold them down all day. And I really hate the Minnesota defense because they're going to be outdoors, and Chicago is obviously, they're rolling with the run game and the pass attack. They've got a lot going on. I think it will be a higher scoring game than people think, and I think Chicago wins it 38-35. Tommy Amato, my man, old comedy buddy, how are you, brother? Talking a little fantasy football. We're looking at Week 11. If you have any matchup challenges coming up this week, please type them right in there into the comments, and let's talk about them as a group. We'll see what everybody thinks. And, of course, Monday night, that's right. Okay, so the Chargers Sunday. Wow, I could go to both of these games, except that I'm not going to be here. But I might go to the Rams game on Monday night. You never know. Rams, this is the big one. This one, Monday night, going to be incredible. It's a possible Super Bowl preview between Kansas City and the Rams. I love all the offense. I hate both defenses. I mean, all the offenses are going to be firing on all cylinders. Dalvin Cook or Lamar Miller. Dalvin Cook. Just because he's so explosive. And Lamar Miller, I mean, they're going to be going up against Washington. They're playing in Washington. And Washington's defense isn't terrible. So Lamar Miller, of anybody on that team that's going to struggle, it might be Lamar Miller. I think absolutely Dalvin Cook is the choice there. Yes, Chicago defense very good, but Dalvin Cook is fucking explosive. You play him while you can, without question, regardless of who they're up against. That's one of those player studs things. Now, in this game, it's going to Kansas City versus the Rams, so high scoring. I see Kansas City upsetting the Rams 42-38. Had to grab on some Carl's Jr., did you? Well, good for you, man. That's a healthy breakfast. It's a breakfast of champions. No, Brian, thank you for the I love matchup questions. And really quickly, let's just look at my teams and let's see what I've got going on this week. See if for me, again, I'm really suffering a running back in my Comedians League. Because my Crow is my RB2 and I'm having to play. Unfortunately, it's between Gio Bernard or Austin Eckler. And both of these, aren't going to see a lot of field. They're not going to see a lot of playing time. So Austin Eckler's against Denver, which is, they're pretty tough against the run. And Giovanni Bernard, they're against Baltimore, which is the best defense in the league right now. So it's very difficult to see who is going to be... Mike Merrifield, what's up? The big deal. You are a big deal, my brother. I love it. Did you have fun? They did book you out there at Stir Crazy, right? I told them, I was like, he's a slam dunk. Bring him out. So hopefully you had great shows there. You have them coming up. Maybe it's in January. But that's the problem for me. Everybody else is pretty much set. And if you look at I have no questions on my team of record, my matchups. I love everybody that I'm playing. Let me see what we got here. Let me go to my team. I'll tell you who we got going in there. My projection is incredible. I tried to pick up Derrick Henry. I just tried to do it. Somebody else already grabbed him. So I didn't think to grab him. And to be honest, I don't trust him. I think it was one good game. I can't have my heart broken by this motherfucker again. I've got Drew Brees, Mike Evans versus the Giants, DeAndre Hopkins is back, Saquon Barkley, Mark Ingram, Vance McDonald, and Stephon Diggs with the Baltimore Ravens defense. So for me, the only person I could put in is Tyler Boyd versus Baltimore. Not going to do it. Let me ask you guys this. Yes, my heart is too broken, Jonathan. I've been betrayed by him too many times. Too many times. I'm done with him forever. I can't. I should have picked him up. I'm such an ass. So, who would you guys play? Vance McDonald versus Jacksonville, or Evan Ingram versus Tampa Bay? I like them both. And Evan Ingram is actually projected a little bit higher, and he doesn't have to share with anybody. But I really think Vance McDonald is more of a sure thing against that Jacksonville defense. A bottle of Jack. You're lucky there's anything in that bottle of Jack. I go through one of those a week. No, not quite, but almost. Jesus. Listen, hey, Jonathan Gregory says Ingram. Maybe I may go with Ingram. With Evan Ingram. I don't know. I feel like it's a toss up. I feel like it's gonna be a win-win with those two guys either way. So that's what we got going on, guys. That's the week. Listen, thank you guys for tuning in. Enjoy that delicious car. Hey, listen, I'm not mad at you. Carl's Jr. has a lovely breakfast menu. Listen, you're on the run. You got to do your thing. Bucks suck against tight ends. Yes, they absolutely do. But they also suck against running backs, and yet Adrian Peterson still managed to eat a big dick versus them last week. So, and let's see. But they are playing in New York, so it'll be cold. Maybe I will put in Evan Ingram. But it is a coin flip, Brian Bentley. I agree. I think either one of those guys is going to do pretty good. Well, listen, guys, that's it. I got to go. I got to get ready for my thing. I got to go get on set. I'm going to have a great weekend in New York. I'll be posting pictures, having a good time. And yes, this podcast has been brought to you accidentally by Carl's Jr. You guys, this has been a lot of fun. Have a great week of fantasy football. I hope everybody wins. Wish me luck. I'm in a must-win situation in my league of record. I'm definitely going to make the playoffs in my Comedians League. You guys have a great week. I'm off to have my the rest of my birthday week. You guys take care. Good night. God bless. Happy football, fantasy football, harsh reality. Look up if you want to hear the audio podcast recommended to others, it's on SoundCloud. All right. Yes, Tommy, if you're back in New York, man, I'm going to be bouncing around. Love to see you, brother. You guys take care. Good night. Happy football.